The city's alive. Clock strikes 12. We're ready to dive down the street where the neon hums. Our little escape. The workday succumbs. Tables wait. The bar's got that swing. Glasses clink. Hear the ice cubes sing. Liquid lunch. Pour it smooth. Let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass. Let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch. We're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Va salute and welcome. Happy Monday. Happy new week. Lot happened this weekend. We got some things to talk about. I got a lot kind of swirling around, bouncing around in this echo chamber of a brain of mine. But we'll get to that in just a second. I want to get to all of you first, starting with Big Al of Big Al Presents, who says, "Good afternoon, Liquid Lunchers. Hope your Monday is treating you well. Have a great show." Thank you so much, my friend. Always appreciate you. Just like I always appreciate someone who calls me the love of her life, because she is the love of mine. Netter of Netters Network says, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, become a member, gift a gifty if you are feeling generous. Always would appreciate that. Let's go, says Real Wade Nation Gaming. Recap. Good to see you, my friend. What a fun day to kick off my by awesome person called Troy. Thank you so much. Super appreciate that. Mechpo, it is lunchtime. Here I are, just woke up a little while ago. Guess the excitement of the recent events at the dilithium mines was too much. Add to the fun that our commanding officer went out on leave on Saturday. Yeah, I think your commanding officer was having a bit of a stress to deal with herself. Oh, of course, man. It's what we do. Hashtag together we grow. Geek Flag with Nate Knows says like, share, subscribe, comment, and become a member. And if you were going to give a super chat of $5 or more, why not gift a membership instead to make our family grow? Yes, that's always a thing. I thought I saw Lynn Green's comment before mine, full disclosure. That's fair. Thank you so much for that. It probably dropped off. This is the danger of me putting up the stream at night before I go to bed. It gives you a chance to drop a comment that might just drop off, which is sad. So I hope Lynn comes back and says hi and lets me know what she might have done and said. But let's get to the Doctor Who last night was The Edge of Destruction, a great little what do they call that, ship in a bottle episode or whatever you call it, where the whole story takes place within the TARDIS. Let's get to what I wanted to share with you guys though, right here, right now. So yeah, I don't know if you caught that. What was it? The halftime show. This whole stupid bunny thing. We'll get into that a little bit. But apparently, Turning Point USA did a halftime show that drew a massive digital audience as Andrew Colvett reveals 25 million viewership total. Just a reminder, you have options. If there's something you don't like, you don't have to watch it, and there are other options. Those of us here on the YouTube sphere and whatnot are trying to make alternative content for you. But there's other options as well. Just saying. Corey of Wilkie's Movies and Music. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you are doing well today. Hope everybody's staying warm. I just noticed that we got above freezing here in Chicago for the first time in weeks. So that's something, even though it's still a little chilly here in my filming location. They refer to them as bottled episodes. That's what they call it. Okay, thank you very much. And it was meh. Well, I heard there were better options, like I said. And good afternoon to you, too. David Pensack, great to see you. I saw a Bad Bunny just being paid for his... I saw Bad Bunny isn't being paid for his show either. I did not know about that. That's a new little wrinkle in it that I was unaware of. But let's get to this alternative show. The Turning Point USA halftime show is continuing to generate major headlines in the aftermath of its Super Bowl counter-programming debut, with newly revealed viewership numbers suggesting the alternative broadcast reached far beyond already eye-catching live audiences. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's still up and being able to be seen. After initial reports confirmed that millions tuned in live across multiple platforms, Turning Point USA spokesman Andrew Colvett has now provided updated cumulative totals that paint a far larger picture of the event's digital footprint. By the way, I should have mentioned at the top of this article from That Park Place is by Marvin Montanaro, and I always acknowledge where an article comes from, but this time specifically I want to shout out Marvin Montanaro because I saw him this morning on a clip from the WDW Pro show. He was coming to the show late because he was writing this article, and he was amped. So you get not only his wonderful writing prowess in this article, but all this heart, what I'm saying. So definitely wanted to shout this one out today. According to Colvett, The All-American halftime show has already surpassed a massive combined audience across its primary streaming platforms. In a televised appearance on Fox News following the broadcast, Colvett stated the All-American halftime show pulled over 25 million views on just YouTube and Rumble alone, with a lot of large groups watching together, so the number of viewers is likely far higher. And the numbers are still climbing. Broadcast partners, fast channel partners, and final count incoming. The 25 million figure reflects cumulative digital viewership, including live streams and delayed viewing traffic across Turning Point USA's main U.S. broadcast, simulcast, and Rumble distribution. Importantly, Colvett emphasized that this number represents only confirmed digital metrics, with additional partner and syndication reporting still pending. The cumulative figures for the Turning Point USA halftime show builds on earlier live night reporting that showed the counter-programming effort drawing sizable concurrent viewership during Super Bowl halftime window itself. Multiple reports confirmed that the live stream peaked in the millions on YouTube alone, with additional viewers tuning in via secondary platforms. The event, branded the All-American Halftime Show, was designed as an alternative entertainment option, airing simultaneously with the NFL's official halftime production, starring controversial musician Bad Bunny. I want to pause to point out that this particular phenomenon is an outgrowth of democracy. Remember, you have a choice. You have a choice with your vote, and you vote not only at the polling place when you're voting for political candidates, you vote with your dollar. Every single dollar you spend, right? You are also voting every time you tune into a piece of media. So guys, I'm just going to say it. You say something about yourself and you say something about your values when you tune into one thing and not the other. Okay? Now, this is a non-starter for me. I didn't have a dog in this hunt because I almost never watch the Super Bowl anyway. I've talked about that. So I wasn't going to see this basically no matter who it was. But if you just sat and kept, munching on the wings and said, yeah, let me watch this, when there was a better option, you're sending a message that you don't care, that none of this is important to you. The message that you're receiving is whatever. Just saying, guys, you're placing a vote even through complacency. Turning Point USA first announced the project after the NFL revealed Bad Bunny, its official halftime headliner, positioning the show as an alternative broadcast centered on patriotic themes and country rock performances. The event featured a lineup of established music acts, including Kid Rock, Brantley Gilbert, Gabby Bennett, and Lee Brice, and was distributed across a mix of digital platforms and partner outlets. Now, I will admit, besides Kid Rock, I don't know any of those names. They're fairly new artists, at least from my perspective. But let me say, they got a lot of exposure this weekend, so kudos to them, giving organizers multiple audience pipelines beyond traditional television coverage. So yeah, if you were this matters to commercial outlets, right? If you're going to support something, you want your product, your name, to be recognized by as many people as possible. And I think people that invested in the very woke uh, uh, sports ball game and it's incredibly divisively woke a midtime show, they did not get the value for their dollar, and they're not happy right now. And that has nothing to do with political opinions. That has to do with dollars and cents. It's really very simple. COVID previously described the initiative as an option for viewers seeking entertainment aligned with faith, family, and freedom. While the 25 million mark is already substantial for a first-year counter broadcast, it may not represent the show's final reach. COVID indicated that broadcast partner totals, fast channel carriage, syndicated replay distribution, and delayed streaming metrics are still being tabulated. If those figures are eventually released, the overall audience footprint could climb even higher than the current confirmed totals. It absolutely will. That's the very nature of the beast. Beyond the already massive live stream turnout, the Turning Point USA halftime show has continued generating significant replay traffic in the days following the Super Bowl broadcast. As of this writing, the archived event video hosted on Turning Point USA's primary U.S. channel has surpassed 19 million views on replay traffic alone, reflecting sustained post-event interest well beyond the live halftime window. Consider the possibility that you sat and watched the football game and didn't realize that this was a thing, and then you're hearing news outlets talking about it, and you're going, well, let me go check that one out. So a lot of people probably did see both. Simulcast distribution has further amplified the total. The official Charlie Kirk YouTube channel's hosted broadcast has added more than 3.6 million additional views, further boosting the show's cumulative digital reach across partner uploads and replays. Combine those post-event YouTube numbers alone account for more than 22 million views. Heck, I may be someone that goes and checks this out. Didn't watch the football game. I'll watch their halftime show. I'll watch their music show. It has nothing to do with football, really. Viewer engagement data also indicates a strong positive audience reception. On Turning Point USA's primary YouTube upload, the archive stream currently holds approximately 797,000 likes and 246,000 dislikes. You better believe that there's people that are angry about this and therefore went to hit the dislike button just on principle. But guess what? That still counts as engagement. That still counts as a view. No way to separate that out. Just saying. And why would you dislike this? There's only one reason to dislike this. You hate democracy. I just said it. This is an option. This was an option that people had. You don't have to watch it, but somebody wanted to. And if you're against somebody doing what they want to do, aren't you the problem? Don't you have the problem? Just saying. And if creating an alternative program is this popular and it's your business to attract an audience, don't you kind of have a responsibility to do this and do it more? Just saying. Meanwhile, the Charlie Kirk channel version shows a ratio of rough. Oh, I see. 167,000 likes to 13,000. Oh, so people are actually going to the Charlie Kirk channel to dislike it as well. See, these are the same people that get upset about bots and campaigns, dislike campaigns and all this kind of stuff. They're doing it. That's confession through projection, reinforcing similarly favorable views, sentiments across simulcast uploads. So yeah, I mean, 13,000 is still kind of nothing compared to 167,000 likes. It's like that's cute. You keep it up. Maybe keep hitting the dislike button over and over again. You might want to make sure that you do it an odd number of times though for it to count at all. Whether viewed as counter programming or the launch of a new annual alternative broadcast, the Turning Point USA halftime show has clearly made an immediate digital impact. With more than 25 million confirmed views across. Let me back up and talk about this for just a second, right? So this isn't necessarily a one-time thing. This could be an ongoing thing perpetually. And so even if the NFL sees this as a huge spanking and then next year says, we're going to back off from this controversial woke stuff, let's go back to the sensible center and engage our audiences, this is still going to be out there for people. And there are a lot of people that said, you know what? Never again. Never again. You can't course correct. You had your chance and you blew it, and we're done. The damage is already done. NFL. With more than 25 million confirmed views across YouTube and Rumble alone, an additional partner number still pending, the event has already established itself as one of the most widely viewed alternative halftime productions ever staged in the Super Bowl space. And if organizers follow through on early indications of a return broadcast next season, the experiment in halftime counter programming may just be getting started. So there you go. Let me see what you guys are saying here real quick before I change gears on us. Backing up. Yep, same rule with Starfleet Academy. Not watching, not giving Paramount clicks. Exactly right. See, this is what I had said to Mark. Mark would watch this thing, and then he'd say, "Hey, check this out," and he'd give me a link to Paramount's channel, and I'm like, I do not want to go to their channel and be registered as a click on their channel. I don't want to watch it. I know how bad it is. I don't need to spend my time. I have too much positive stuff to do to waste my time watching something I know I'm going to hate, and I certainly don't want to encourage them with hate watches. It's just not worth it. No musical artist who performs at the Super Bowl has ever been paid for their appearance. It is through thought that the exposure to perform on the largest stage in America is payment enough. I think different artists appear for different reasons. Like, for example, Prince did not need the exposure. He did it for his own reasons. The last time I watched the Super Bowl was when the Washington Redskins were in it. And yeah, I still call them the Redskins. No one can stop you. No one can stop you. I still call it the Sears Tower. I don't care who owns it. I don't care that Sears doesn't even really exist anymore. Welcome, the Horror King. Always good to see you, my friend. Always. Has anyone here seen Iron Lung yet? If you have, what did you think of it? I have not gotten a chance to see it yet. But I am fired up by the concept. We were just talking in this article about, alternative media. Iron Lung is alternative media. That's another example of someone bucking the system and saying, hey, you don't have to put up with it. You really don't. But what I am asking you to put up with, at least briefly, is the promos that I put together to let you know what I've got coming up this week. I do put a lot of effort into them because I want to promote not just what I'm doing, but what other creators in our sphere are doing. Check it out. Let me refill my drink. We'll come back to some other articles right after this, just about 3 minutes and some change. Okay. See you in a second. Here we go.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together. This week on Live from Sparkwood and 21, after 3 weeks viewing the extended fan edit of Firewalk with Me combined with the missing pieces, the superfans will spend an episode doing a deep dive into this prequel film in relation to the 3 seasons of the show and the greater lore. Join us for some damn fine coffee and pie to die for, and good conversation. This Tuesday at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates.
This week on Last Call presents the return of Sherlock Holmes, believed dead after his fatal encounter with Professor Moriarty 3 years earlier. Sherlock Holmes returns to England to foil a plot to murder him by a former Moriarty gang member and assist Watson in solving a locked room murder from the empty house. This Tuesday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Last Call.
This week on Big Al Presents Films with Friends, a 2-night double feature. First on Friday the 13th, still haunted by his past, Tommy Jarvis, who, as a child, killed Jason Voorhees, is sent to a secluded halfway house in the countryside, where the killing of a young man triggers a brutal series of murders in the area. It's Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. This Friday at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. Then, on Saturday the 14th, a family inherits an old mansion, which houses the dangerous Book of Evil that has all the monsters of the world trapped inside it. It's the comedy classic Saturday the 14th, Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Big Al Presents.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Last Call with Troy Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it elsewhere, but Boomer and Pacelli spin it like only 2 old geezers can. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
This week on Last Call presents Doctor Who. The TARDIS arrives on Earth in the 13th century, where it is claimed by famed explorer Marco Polo as a gift for his employer, Kublai Khan. Polo hopes to finally buy his way out of the Khan's service, but if he succeeds, the Doctor and his friends will never be able to get back to their ship ever again. It's part 1 of the reconstruction of the missing media Doctor Who serial Marco Polo. This Sunday on Last Call presents Doctor Who.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
Jonathan Conroy says, I'm warming up by the fire. Been dealing with frozen pipes at my mother's place. Not fun. Remind your mom when it starts getting cold, you might want to just run a little trickle into those pipes so that they don't freeze. Moving water is much harder to freeze. Power Ranger Donnie says, hello, Troy and all. Hope everyone's Super Bowl weekend was well. Yes, I did change my YouTube name, handle, and profile pic now that Super Sentai is on a long break. That is fair. Super appreciate you being here. And yes, the old NBC movie presentation intro. I want to keep those kinds of things alive. I think this... we've talked about this before, network television doing presentations of movies on specific nights every week. It's something that we do here, so I want to keep the feel of that kind of thing alive if I can. Absolutely. Gonna post those on X later on, Big Al. In fact, if I get the time, I'll try to do one that splits the two up, so we could do them separately. But yeah. In case you didn't know, is Irish for hello, but translates to God be with you. Love that. Speaking of NBC, I'm watching the Olympic Winter Games on Seattle's King 5. Yeah, I won't be watching the Olympic Games at all. I'm very displeased with the attitudes of the people that they sent to represent this country, and I suspect that their sponsors are as well. Again, people need to really think about what it is that they are supporting. Let me get back to the shared screen. Nelson Peltz, remember him? Was trying to buy out Disney. Claims Josh D'Amaro was chosen as Disney's CEO because Bob Iger needs a reason to stay on. That's a very insightful comment. I think that a number of outlets in our sphere, including WDW Pro, that Park Place, Culture Casino, have speculated very, very similar things. What is it? New boss, same as the old boss. Activist investor Nelson Peltz is once again taking aim at Disney leadership, this time over the company's decision to elevate Josh D'Amaro to CEO. And his comments pull absolutely no punches. In a blunt assessment of the succession decision, Peltz suggests the move had less to do with corporate strategy and more to do with keeping Bob Iger firmly in power behind the scenes. I didn't think there was any choice because Iger needs a reason to stay on, he said. And past his prologue, you look to the past to guess what's happening in the future. And Bob Iger didn't really leave when Bob Chapek took over. Bob Iger was still in charge. He came and used Bob Chapek as a scapegoat and kicked him out. Wouldn't be surprised if he's not doing the same thing all over again. The remark came during an interview with the Wall Street Journal as Peltz reacted to Disney's long-awaited CEO transition plan, one that we see D'Amaro, step into the top job while Iger shifts into an advisory and board role when his contract expires at the end of 2026. Sounds a lot like what he did the first time he left. He was going to remain in an advisory role, which means he's still in charge. But according to Peltz, the structure of that transition raises serious questions about who will truly be running the company. I've already outlined the case. Peltz argued that Disney's board deliberately avoided appointing a film or entertainment executive, someone with deep studio experience, because doing so would have forced Iger to step aside more cleanly. If he put the person in charge of entertainment as the CEO, he wouldn't have an excuse to stay on, Peltz noted. Kind of a good point. D'Amaro's background is rooted in Disney's parks, experiences, and product division, widely viewed as the company's most financially stable and operationally successful arm in recent years, but not its film and television business. To Peltz, the difference isn't incidental, it's strategic. I will note what they're saying is true from a certain point of view, right? Widely viewed as the company's most financial, stable, and operationally successful arm in recent years doesn't mean it's terribly successful. It just means it's their most successful arm, which kind of tells you that By comparison, it's not very successful. Peltz went even further, predicting how Iger himself would eventually frame the leadership dynamic once the transition is complete. Peltz predicted that Iger will eventually claim DeMarco doesn't know anything about the movie business, therefore I'm going to stay on and guide him. Sound familiar? Yeah, I think so. Peltz clearly believes Iger will use DeMaro's, I keep saying DeMarco, right? DeMaro's lack of studio experience as justification to remain actively involved in corporate decision-making, and he made it clear he's confident in that forecast. Watch that post, he said. Okay, see if I'm wrong. Peltz has spent years publicly challenging Disney's leadership structure and succession planning, most notably through 2 separate proxy battles aimed at securing board influence. It's true. I'm wondering if he's lost interest. We'll see. One of his central criticisms during those campaigns was Disney's perceived failure to develop a stable CEO succession pipeline, an issue that became highly visible following the abrupt firing of Bob Chapek and Iger's subsequent return. From Peltz's perspective, the DeMaro appointment doesn't resolve that concern. It reinforces it. Disney's board, however, has presented a very different rationale for selecting DeMaro. Well, of course they would. They would gild the lily in every way they could. Led by Chairman James Gorman, the succession committee evaluated multiple internal candidates, including entertainment co-chair Dana Walden and Alan Bergman, as well as ESPN head Jimmy Pitaro. Gorman pointed to DeMaro's operational leadership global park expansion strategy, and cross-division curiosity as key deciding factors, arguing his skill set aligns with Disney's evolving corporate structure. But that explanation hasn't quieted critics like Peltz, who continue to view the transition as incomplete as long as Iger remains embedded in the power structure. Under the current plan, Iger will step down as CEO in March of 2026, transitioning into a senior advisor role while retaining a board seat, pending shareholder approval. The agreement, common in corporate transitions, is precisely what fuels skepticism among activist investors who worry about divided authority. For Peltz, the concern is simple: a CEO in title only, with strategic power still flowing through Iger. Whether Peltz's prediction proves accurate remains to be seen. I think it would be a safe bet. DeMaro inherits Disney at a time of major structural changes, from streaming profitability and studio performance to park expansion and brand perception. The question isn't just whether he can lead, it's whether he'll be allowed to lead independently. And if Peltz is right, the real test of Disney's succession plan won't be DeMaro's appointment. It will be how much influence Iger retains once the handoff is supposed to be complete. Let me get back to what you all are saying over here in the chat. Let's see. Speaking of mixed bags, I feel the same way about the Walt Disney Company, even though I'm still hyped about Camp Rock 3 and the new Power Rangers reboot show on Disney+. I'm glad that you found something to be hyped about in terms of Disney, but you need to also be aware that that is a very narrow perspective of a much larger company that is suffering in a lot of other areas, and that most fans of most other franchises touching Disney are very, very dissatisfied, which would almost put you, well, would definitely put you in a minority perspective. Iger won't let go. Similar arrangement at the dilithium mines. Looking as we are, I predict nothing will change. No, I agree with you from the things you've been telling me about what's going on over there. And last night's Super Bowl was so boring, I just turned it off and watched a movie. Well, now you know that there was an option on many different streaming locations where you could have watched the Turning Point USA alternative show. But there you go. There you go. And one last thing before we start checking out. HBO's Harry Potter series star claims the show will explore more than the books. And that's exactly what fans didn't ask for. So before I even get into this article, I'm going to say that from my understanding of the book fans that loved the movies, they did, the one criticism they had, as a lot of people did who were fans of the Lord of the Rings movies. Because of the nature of film and a film series, you can't always get everything into the movie, right? Each movie, with the exception of the last one, represented one book. So you had to distill a whole book down to a 2-hour, roughly, time slot. So things are oftentimes left aside. And so a lot of fans speculated, well, if they're going to do a series, maybe they're going to, take their time and do the whole book, and maybe make a whole season that one book, So potentially you have 7-8 seasons potentially planned. Well, it sounds like that's not how they're going to be doing this. The new HBO Harry Potter series was sold to audiences as a chance to finally do what the 8-film run couldn't do, adapt J.K. Rowling's books in full without chopping key moments, subplots, and character beats to fit the movie runtime. So it's not exactly reassuring to see the cast out promoting the idea that the show will show so much more than the books. Not the sense of restoring missing material, but in the sense of expanding beyond what's on the page. Which makes it not J.K. Rowling's story, but these cultural vandals. That's the message coming straight from Lox Pratt, the actor cast as Draco Malfoy, as if you're a fan who simply wanted the books but complete. This marketing push is starting to sound like a warning label. Pratt says the HBO Harry Potter series will broaden perspective beyond Harry's shoulder, and more importantly, will add scenes and moments that simply weren't part of Rowling's original framing. As Pratt put it, you get to see all the teachers in their little rooms. You get to see Draco at home. I won't spoil too much about that, but there are some brilliant scenes at home where you start to get an insight into how he is. This is exactly what where the tension starts. Fans weren't asking for brand new domestic scenes, backstage teacher hangout sequences, or expanded side character points of view. We've already seen this at play from set photos released by the studio showing John Lithgow as Albus Dumbledore. In the photos, Dumbledore is on a beach, and eagle-eyed fans were quick to point out that the original novel Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone never had a scene featuring Dumbledore. on the sand. They were asking for the material already in the books that the films left behind. The movies had no choice but compress. The series doesn't have that excuse. And when the marketing starts to sound like we're adding instead of we're finally delivering what was cut, it inevitably raises the question, why are we expanding the story before finishing the source material properly? Again, because these people don't care about the source material. These are cultural vandals. We have seen it time and time and time and time again with all of our favorite franchises. They get in and they go, I want to make this mine. Translation, I am not creative enough to create something myself, so I'm going to steal a property from someone else and their names and their logos and then tell my own story. That's what this is all about. This is what it's always been about. There aren't enough Peter Jacksons in the world that say, I want to be as faithful as possible because I am a fan. I am not creating something of my own. I am adapting something to the best of my abilities. Just saying. This HBO Harry Potter series is going to be another Ring of Power, and you don't even hear anybody talking about Rings of Power anymore at all, not even to rag on it. Yep. And this is something else I feel, and I kind of alluded to it earlier in the conversation when I was talking about the hate watching, right? Reviewing things to be negative about them maybe initially gets a message out. Maybe don't waste your time on this, but don't give it any more attention than it deserves. Let's just agree that these are cultural vandals and just walk away from it. I probably didn't see your comment about the Looney Tunes because I wasn't talking about that. That's probably a topic for another day. Well said, Troy, on the adaptation aspect of the source material. Yeah, this is, and I say it over and over and over again. I sound like a broken record, but it needs to get across. The only reason that you acquire an IP and the fans that come with it is because the fans are a fan of that thing. They will not be a fan of a bastardization of it. They will walk away. And we've seen it happen over and over and over again. And you never garner that level of fandom ever again, for a weak, washed out, remake of something. Nobody cares about that. They're looking for the new hotness. They don't want the broken down reconstruction, right? Just saying. This lack of respect for the fandom that you spend so much money trying to pull in, it's absolutely ridiculous. Star Wars, for example, was literally purchased as a money-making machine. You didn't have to do anything with it. You could just collect the money from the toys. But they decided they were going to deconstruct it. And with each project, they drove away more and more and more fans to the point that it's really not making any money anymore. Mark's drawing the analogy to Star Trek and the Klingon fandom and how you just get sick of following them. Look, this is true even with things that I agree with. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing the negativity. I start unfollowing even people that whose opinions I would otherwise agree with, because all it does is twist me into knots and distract me from things I could be doing here on YouTube myself to create good content, right? These suits are idiots. They think they have a built-in fan base because of the name, and they want to make changes to bring in new fans, but all that does is push away the old fans, and you end up with a franchise with less new fans and no old fans, which means you just diminished your market with a snap of a finger. And I agree with you. I think these suits are very slow to understand, but there is a logic that even these stuffed suits should be able to understand, right? Wait a minute. Why are you changing stuff? Why am I seeing all this stuff by this guy wearing a bucket on his head, claiming that you are deconstructing and ruining what I paid a lot of money for? What changes are you making? Why are there changes? I didn't buy this so it could be changed. I bought it so you could keep cranking out money. We need someone like that in charge. You don't have to understand it. All you have to do is understand the basics of the economy, the basics of why you bought something in the first place. I don't need to know how a car works to buy a car company and say, keep making cars the way you're doing it. You know, don't screw around. Just saying. But that is what I'm thinking about today. I am thinking about the alternative media. I am thinking of not continuing to not patronize the companies that are destroying the things we love. It's kind of what I founded this channel on, what so many of these channels have been doing. Let's face it, this is not a money-making endeavor. Yes, I am trying to make streaming a viable profession, but ultimately the primary driver is still and always has been fighting the culture war. If you don't like something, don't support it. Withhold your money and put it elsewhere. Send a loud, clear message that you will not continue to throw money at a franchise just because you love the name and you miss what it used to be. Withhold your money and encourage others to do the same. Be a part of your fandoms and get out there and say, yeah, sorry, I am not watching this new thing. It sucks. You know, I was a fan of this when it was this. It's not that anymore. Okay? That's all I'm saying today. Those are my musings for today. And yeah, I encourage everyone go check out Iron Lung. It is definitely what I would consider to be the alternative media, and deserves to be supported just because it's something new. It's an attempt at getting back to simply entertaining. I don't know if it's going to be good. It might not be great, but it's a great attempt that I think deserves to be supported. To quote the YouTube Ronin, this is how we win. That's right. You know, I think it's important to keep in mind what he means. What are we winning? We're winning the culture war. That's what we're talking about. In fact, the more I think about this, the more I think I might dedicate Friday's stream to that, the wins and losses in the culture war and where we think we're going from there. So, guys, I want to thank you so much for sharing your liquid lunch with me today. I hope you, have something to muse about today, something to ponder and chew on and think about throughout the week. And I hope to see you all in the next thing, which is for the members tonight. Let's see what is the members tonight. Give me a second here. Get to my posts. I want to see if we're still at a deadlock. No, we are not. So it looks like tonight we will be watching the movie Grease from 1978. It just hedged out Hard to Hold, which I'm gonna be honest, I might just make the film for next week. But let's look forward to a little bit of Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta and Stockard Channing tonight on Members Night at the Movie right here at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. Hope you can make it. And if you are not a member, remember you can become a member for as little as $2 and join us every Monday night for a great little get-together of a bunch of friends watching a movie. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you all so much. You guys are the best. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy what you're watching. Don't watch things that upset you. Watch things that are enjoyable, right? Stay healthy, get healthy, stay hydrated, drink responsibly, and I'll see each and every one of you on the next one. Salute.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high.